The most important changes in your life are completely invisible. Most people miss their own transformation because they're looking for the wrong signs, the dramatic breakthroughs, the obvious victories, the Instagram-worthy moments. But real growth happens in the invisible spaces, in the quiet shifts you can't measure. While everyone else celebrates promotions and relationship milestones, your most profound development is happening in moments so small, you forget to acknowledge them. I'm about to show you exactly how to recognize when you're evolving, even when everything feels stuck. My friend, you ever open LinkedIn and suddenly feel like your entire existence is a blooper reel while everyone else is living their highlight film? One moment you're feeling decent about your progress, and the next, you're spiraling because someone from your graduating class just got promoted to director, launched their own agency, bought a condo, has perfect work-life balance, and somehow still finds time to post thoughtful industry insights daily. Meanwhile, you're sitting in your apartment wondering if ordering groceries online while working in sweatpants counts as optimizing your lifestyle, or if you're just avoiding real adulting. This is the comparison trap, and it's vicious because deep down, you know those posts aren't the complete story, but your brain processes them like they are. Here's what nobody talks about. Progress doesn't photograph well. The kind of growth that actually matters, the type that rewires your nervous system, changes your response patterns, transforms your relationships. It's invisible. It doesn't get featured in professional updates or life announcements. Real progress looks like taking responsibility for your emotional reactions instead of blaming everyone else for making you feel certain ways. Like realizing you're not owed someone's time just because you invested yours. Like finally being honest about which habits are genuinely serving your goals versus which ones just make you feel busy and important. Like lying awake at 3 a.m. with anxiety about your future and choosing not to doom scroll job boards or text someone who hurt you. You don't get congratulations for that. You don't get engagement metrics. You just reclaim pieces of your power, slowly, inconsistently, one small choice at a time. But we've been conditioned to measure worth through external markers, promotions, relationship milestones, fitness transformations, side hustle launches, apartment upgrades. When your development doesn't come with documentation, you start believing it doesn't count. Like you're falling behind while everyone else unlocks the next level and you're stuck in some endless tutorial. Let me tell you, that's complete fiction, a polished, curated, perfectly lit fiction, because the people genuinely doing internal work aren't broadcasting it. They're surviving it, they're in therapy processing family patterns, they're having uncomfortable conversations about boundaries, they're waking up daily and choosing not to quit even though nothing appears different yet. You don't witness their growth because it's not performative, it's not aesthetic. It's cellular level change happening in the quiet moments between public appearances. But comparison screams constantly, insisting your pace is wrong, your journey is derailed, that you're chronically late. Late for what, exactly? Who established this timeline? Who decided that by certain ages, you must have specific achievements unlocked and perfectly documented? Your growth isn't invalid because it doesn't come with a promotion or a relationship announcement or visible abs. Your pace isn't slow because your timeline doesn't mirror someone else's social media narrative. That's not slowness, that's customization. Your development isn't mass-produced. It doesn't follow a product launch schedule. You're not behind. You're precisely on schedule for the life that actually aligns with you, not the one you've been pretending to want just to feel caught up with arbitrary standards. I'm really curious about your experience with this comparison thing. What's one moment when you realized someone's highlight reel was making you question your own progress? Share it in the comments. Sometimes just acknowledging these feelings helps others realize they're not alone in the struggle. My friend, here's a growth sign most people completely miss. You're getting allergic to certain types of energy, not in a dramatic, storming out of rooms way, but in a subtle, cellular level rejection of situations that used to feel normal. That networking event where everyone talks about disrupting industries, your body now physically recoils instead of forcing enthusiasm. Those conversations about grinding until you make it, they make your nervous system feel like it's wearing an itchy sweater. The friend who always turns every interaction into a comparison contest. You find yourself naturally creating distance without even deciding to. This isn't you becoming antisocial or losing your ambition. This is your system developing better filtering mechanisms. Your tolerance for performative productivity, toxic positivity, and energy-draining interactions is naturally decreasing because you're starting to recognize what actually serves your growth versus what just feels familiar. You might interpret this as becoming boring or losing your edge, but it's actually your intuition getting stronger. Your body is learning to protect your energy before your mind even recognizes the threat. You're developing energetic boundaries that keep you aligned with environments and people that support who you're becoming rather than who you used to be. This shift often happens so gradually that you don't notice until someone comments on how you've changed, or you realize you've been naturally avoiding certain situations for months. Trust this instinct. Your energy is becoming more selective because it's becoming more valuable. And while this internal recalibration is happening, there's another shift occurring that most people mistake for something going wrong. I'm about to reveal the most overlooked sign that you're actually growing, but first, you need to understand why feeling terrible might be the best thing happening to you right now. You think development should feel like clarity and confidence, right? Like suddenly having your LinkedIn optimized and your 5-year plan color-coded in a beautiful planner. But real growth often feels like controlled demolition. Like suddenly being unable to tolerate the small talk you use to navigate effortlessly. Sometimes it feels like rage, not violent anger, but a deep intolerance for situations that require you to abandon yourself for social comfort, like being physically unable to fake enthusiasm for conversations about metrics and KPIs, when your soul is asking bigger questions about meaning and impact. Growth can feel like canceling plans you previously forced yourself to attend. Those professional mixers where everyone exchanges business cards and talks about scaling, then spending the evening wondering if you're becoming a hermit or finally listening to your authentic needs. It doesn't always feel empowering. Sometimes it feels like standing in a bookstore having an existential crisis about self-help titles while your former people-pleasing self completely malfunctions. Sometimes it's laughing at a productivity hack video and realizing mid-laugh, wait, I actually don't believe that optimization equals fulfillment anymore. Or walking away from a conversation about personal branding and needing 30 minutes to decompress because your body rejected the entire premise that you need to package yourself for consumption. You expected growth to be aspirational, morning routines with perfect lighting and bullet journaling in aesthetically pleasing coffee shops. But sometimes it's sitting in your car after work, completely overwhelmed by how different you feel inside while your external life looks basically the same, or feeling absolutely nothing about the achievement you spent months pursuing and wondering if your motivation has broken. Nobody prepares you for this part. Authentic development is disorienting. You don't receive notifications when you've outgrown certain relationships. You just feel drained around them. You don't get clear signals when something you worked toward finally materializes but doesn't fulfill you. You just experience this hollow recognition like, oh, this is it. If you're finding value in these insights about what growth actually looks like versus what we think it should look like, I dive much deeper into topics like this in my weekly newsletter. I share research I'm discovering about personal development, my own experiences with these exact feelings, and frameworks that help make sense of these in-between phases. You can find the link in the description if you want these insights delivered directly to your inbox. Sometimes, the best way to keep making videos like this is by partnering with people who genuinely help us grow. And today's sponsor, Brilliant, does exactly that. Brilliant helps you become a better thinker and problem solver with thousands of interactive lessons across math, science, programming, data analysis, and even AI. What makes it so powerful is how you learn. Instead of just watching lectures, Brilliant gives you hands-on problems that let you play with concepts. This method has been proven to be way more effective and keeps you engaged every day. So whether you're brushing up on the basics or tackling more advanced challenges, Brilliant makes sure you're building real understanding from the ground up. If you'd like to start learning for free, head to brilliant.org/mindflow, scan the QR code on screen, or use the link in the description. And the best part, you guys here also get 20% off premium, which unlocks unlimited daily access. You ever reach that point where you don't feel sad or excited or even anxious anymore? You just feel neutral, like your emotional range got stuck on airplane mode and nobody provided the Wi-Fi password. You're not crying, but you're not particularly engaged either. You're just existing, working, responding to messages, saying sounds good to plans you're mentally checked out from. You label it numbness. I call it recalibration. That empty sensation you're worried about, that's not you shutting down. It's your system going offline while it updates to a new operating system. Because maybe for the first time in years, you're not running on crisis energy. You're not addicted to the adrenaline of constant hustle, perpetual networking, or the anxiety that you're not doing enough. You're not operating from the fear that if you slow down, you'll fall behind. So naturally, you feel strange. You've spent your entire adult life in emergency mode, and now it's quiet. every opportunity used to trigger analysis about career advancement. Every social situation required strategic thinking about connections you might make. Every day, your brain operated in optimization mode. And now this stillness. No urgent deadlines, no networking FOMO, just space, and your nervous system is confused about what to do with peace. You think you're stuck, but maybe you're just not in survival mode anymore. Maybe that silence you're afraid of is rest that doesn't feel familiar yet. Maybe your body finally has permission to stop performing, but it doesn't trust the quiet, so it panics in its own stillness. This isn't numbness, this is integration. It just feels boring because your 20s trained you to equate constant motion with progress, even when that motion was burning you out. You're not lazy, you're not broken, you're not weak for not feeling inspired every day. You're tired at a cellular level, and you need a different kind of rest. Not the kind where you sleep 10 hours and wake up still exhausted. The kind where you stop performing productivity, where you stop trying to feel motivated constantly just to prove you're still growing. Emotions don't vanish during development. They hibernate. They take breaks. They return in different forms. You keep expecting some obvious indication that you're evolving, some cosmic thumbs up, some clear confirmation that all this internal work is creating results. Maybe a stranger at Starbucks approaching to say, "Excuse me, I just wanted to mention that your emotional intelligence seems really developed and your personal growth journey is inspiring." My friend, that's not how this works. The real indicators are whisper quiet. They don't announce themselves. They appear in moments so small you forget to acknowledge them. Like when someone tries to push your buttons and you don't react, you just observe and breathe. Like catching yourself mid-overthinking spiral and gently redirecting your attention. Like hearing that familiar voice saying you're not good enough, and for the first time, not automatically believing it. Or responding to a text hours later without writing an essay, apologizing for having a life beyond immediate availability. That's evolution, that's transformation, that's sacred progress. But because it doesn't look like fireworks, you dismiss it, you ignore it. You forget that the most significant shifts happen without fanfare. Like when you stop reaching out to people who consistently drain you, and they don't even notice, but you feel lighter. Like saying no to plans without crafting elaborate justifications. Like making decisions that disappoint others, but keep you aligned with your values. Nobody celebrates that, but it matters more than any external achievement. You become someone who listens before reacting, who pauses instead of proving, who recognizes manipulation tactics and doesn't engage anymore. You've outgrown certain conversations, certain coping strategies, certain versions of yourself that you maintained because they felt safe. And you accomplish this without announcing it online, without making it your entire identity. You just grew quietly, reluctantly, courageously. Speaking of quiet transformation, there's one more sign that you're leveling up that most people completely miss, and it might be the most important one. I once completely lost it in the middle of a grocery store because they were out of the specific energy drinks I relied on for my morning routine. That was the trigger. No major crisis, no devastating news, no warning. Just an empty refrigerator case, and me standing there like a malfunctioning android, trying not to have a meltdown in front of the kombucha. If you've never experienced a silent mental collapse in aisle 4 of Whole Foods, congratulations on your emotional stability. But if you have, you understand exactly what I'm describing. It's never about the energy drinks or the parking situation or the Wi-Fi being down. It's about the 1,000 invisible pressures you've been managing, finally converging at the most random moment. It's about maintaining the illusion that you have everything together for so long that your body selects a completely ordinary Wednesday to say, actually no, we're done pretending. It's about trying to hold your life together with apps and systems and the performance of having it figured out until you're staring at an empty shelf and realize you are the empty shelf. That moment cracked something open because it was the first time I understood that growth doesn't always look like strength. Sometimes it looks like breaking down over beverages and actually allowing yourself to feel it, not pushing through, not suppressing it, not immediately reaching for your phone to distract yourself. Real development was letting that version of me fracture, because that version was designed for survival, not thriving. That version was always optimizing, always performing, always trying to be the person others expected. She said yes to opportunities that looked impressive but felt hollow. She maintained relationships that were draining her energy. She called it ambition when it was actually self-abandonment. That version had served her purpose. She got me through school, helped me establish professional credibility, taught me how to network effectively, but she couldn't take me further. So yes, I cried publicly over energy drinks, but that wasn't a breakdown, that was a breakthrough. You ever pause and consider how many times you almost gave up? Not just dramatically declared it to friends, but genuinely almost quit. On yourself, on trying, on believing that effort leads to meaningful change. On the entire project of becoming who you're meant to be. But you didn't quit, you didn't give up, and that persistence means everything. It means you're not fragile, it means you have a foundation made of something most people never develop. It means there's a part of you, maybe buried under doubt, maybe bruised by disappointment, maybe barely audible, that refuses to surrender, and nobody gives you credit for that. No one acknowledges the strength it takes to survive another quarter-life crisis or drag yourself out of bed when your motivation feels completely absent. But that part of you, the one that keeps showing up, even when you can't explain why, that's your core strength. That's your soul insisting, this story isn't over. I know some days you don't feel like anything is working. I know some days you think, if this is growth, why does it hurt so much? But you're still here. With your questions, with your struggles, with your frustration, and your hope, and your developing self-awareness. And that continuation matters more than you realize. You being here matters because you weren't supposed to make it this far. Not with everything you've navigated, not with the way life tested you before you had the tools to understand what was happening. And yet here you are, still breathing, still learning, still figuring it out. Even if your version of trying is just not quitting today. And that's sufficient. That's more than sufficient. You don't need perfect clarity. You don't need to be in your healed era or documenting your journey with inspirational content. You just need to continue. Not for external validation, not to prove anything to anyone, but because something inside you is still investing in a version of your life that you haven't experienced yet. And if that investment is still active, even if it's small, even if it wavers, even if it's just a flicker, you are not finished. You are not failing, you are not behind schedule, you are becoming. The truth is, you were never lost. You're just becoming someone nobody has seen before, including yourself. Every uncomfortable feeling, every moment of doubt, every instance of not knowing what's next. It's all part of the process of shedding who you used to be to make space for who you're becoming. Your timing isn't wrong. Your pace isn't too slow. Your path isn't too unconventional. You're exactly where you need to be for the transformation that's unfolding. The discomfort you're feeling isn't evidence that you're doing something wrong. It's proof that you're doing something real. So take a breath, trust the process, and remember that the best version of yourself is already on its way. You just can't see it yet because you're still in the middle of becoming it. If you found this video helpful, this next video right here will take you even further. Your choice, your life. Start now.